I'm Mike from Rock and Load, and I've got the pleasure today of talking to Jamie and Adam from the fantastic City of Thieves.
Thank you.
It's a brand new jungle, shiny and tall. It's gonna eat you alive until there's nothing at all. You might smell that burning rubber well, really I'm in it rough. Born in the smoke, concrete incinerator.
To us today.
No worries. How we
Pleasure.
doing?
Is this, well, it will be your first time at Hard Rock Hell.
It is.
Won't it?
We've all done it with other bands before.
Yeah.
We did. Our old band did it at the old Prestatyn site. You know, the Pontins.
Yeah, I love the old site.
That was 2009. We did the third one. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same year as Wasp and New York Dolls and Rat. I think were there.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
That was good. And Adam's last band.
2012 did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
2012.
which bands were you previously? And which bands? did
Yeah,
you
the
play at Hard
band
Rock Hell?
previously called Red, White and Blues.
All right.
We did that and we played it's on the 2012 it was, yeah. That's the last time it was.
Did you play at Download?
Yeah.
When it absolutely chucked it
It
down?
was just the Friday was just
Yeah.
oh, it was just nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
Everybody had to wait outside for the fire brigade to
Oh, yeah.
spread sawdust everywhere.
Oh,
didn't
really?
they?
Yeah, I just remember looking,
It
going
was
around
pretty
and it
bad this
disappear
year.
in the mud.
was
well.
Listen to the radio, it was just chaos. It's just, but luckily they got it going, but it was just touch and go. It was, but
I know it was. Yeah, we were all,
Persevere, don't you?
we were all
Persevere.
waiting outside, going, "They're going to cancel this." We were, like I said, it was touch and go.
Wow.
It's whether they're going to cancel it or not. But you were the first band on that day, weren't you?
yeah, it was it was pretty weird. It was a weird day.
It was.
A weird day, but you won't forget it.
Yeah, I know.
We played. Our old band was called Four Wheel Drive, and that was me, Ben, and Will were in that.
Right.
The three of us
Yeah.
together. So we've been together about 8 years, and we did the Hard Rock Hell 2009 with Four Wheel Drive, which at that point I think we'd only been going about 18 months or so, and we were on. We won a competition to play, which we didn't even know we'd entered, which was nice. And we were on the last. We were the last band on stage 2 on the Saturday night, and the band before us, who we became mates with afterwards, were basically the singer passed out in the last note of the encore
Really?
of their set, fell straight back, smashed his head on the floor, and they cleared out the entire stage area, got the ambulance in, neck braces, made sure he wasn't moving, all this
Wow.
kind of thing, and then they went, "Oh, yeah, by the way, your set's cancelled." We were like,
Oh.
sick, we've just driven to Prestatyn and now we can't
No.
play, and we managed to reschedule the next day. We got on, you know the old pub venue,
Yes.
which is the Vic or
Yeah.
Queen Vic or something, and we managed to get on in there. The next night they extended the closing time of that stage to give us the slot and actually it was absolutely rammer, which was great. And then the guy that had passed out, he actually came back from hospital.
All right, cool.
And came and watched us play and was
Good,
like,
as
"I'm
long as
so
he was
sorry,
okay."
I'm so sorry." Yeah, he was fine in the end, and we became good mates with him after that. So that was our
Fantastic.
Hard Rock Hell
That's
story.
your Hard Rock Hell experience. So
Yeah.
far. Like, well, it doesn't repeat itself today.
Yeah. If anything, we should do that to someone else. So,
Yeah, whoever's on after you.
yeah.
Your first EP, Incinerator, was released in September.
It was
wasn't
indeed, yeah.
Rock and Load reviewed it, gave it a glowing review.
Thank you very
I was just
much,
reading
yeah.
it again earlier on.
Yeah.
It was produced by Toby Jepson.
It
wasn't
was. It was indeed. Yeah.
And mixed by Mike Fraser.
Yes.
Legendary
Was-
Mike Fraser.
That was
Legendary Toby Jepson as well.
Yeah.
So
The
how,
whole-
how did you get involved with the two guys?
Toby was actually we'd had a guy kind of helping to manage us a little bit for a couple of years, and he worked with Strange World Management, which is Steve Strange's management company, the guy who
Yes,
runs
yeah.
X-Ray.
Toby
and
works with Steve
Toby, yeah,
closely.
he does, and he recommended. We said we want to make an album because we were bored sitting around on our laurels and stuff, and we'd had a chat with a couple of producers, and we said to our manager Adrian at the time, said, "Look, we want to make an album. We've spoken to these guys, and he came back and said, Steve has had a listen, and he thinks you should work with Toby." So we got in touch with Toby. Toby, and actually it was Toby's wife that convinced him in the end to work with us, because he'd left our CD in his car, and she'd been driving around listening to it, coming home going, "You got to work with that band, you got to work with that band," and he was like, I don't even remember listening, and he put it on. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I bet I had worked with them." And she kind of nudged him and reminded him to do it.
Excellent.
And we got really matey with Toby over the writing process and stuff. And he was we worked with him because he was the first guy who would offer us advice for free. He didn't care if he was involved with it. We never even agreed to do the project with him, to do the album with him. He was just like, "Send me your songs, I'll give you critiques." And everyone else we spoke to went, "Well, I'm not going to give you any advice till you pay me and tell me you're doing it." And Toby was just like, "No, it's about songs. Send me the songs, I'll tell you what I think, and we'll do." And so it's so organic from that perspective. And as we were working through the album, we did 2 long recording sessions with him to do the album. And then he was sort of saying all about, "Oh, Fraser would be great for you, Fraser would be great for you." And we'd all grown up listening to records that Mike Fraser mixed, so that was a big bucket list thing. And Fraser started working at a slightly smaller studio in Canada, and he was like, basically could kind of said, "Look, because of the style of album you've done, I can do it in this cheaper studio, I can do it."
Right.
So we got the man and we got the equipment, we just got it in we got it
a little bit cheaper,
a little bit, which was great for us, and he just did what you'd expect him to do to the tracks, really. And we were he took everyone's phone numbers, and at 4:30, 5 in the morning he's texting and ringing everyone, "Wake up, come and listen to the song, blah blah blah." So pull yourself out of bed at 4:30 and get the stereo on and have a listen and send all the feedback. And sometimes we'd be in email chains for 2.5, 3 hours listening to mixes backwards and forwards and tweaking everything and getting it sorted. So it was just such a great experience. He was sort of like our Canadian rock and roll Father Christmas for a few days.
How much different did the songs sound after he mixed them to the ones that you sent to him?
I think to be honest, what he does is you have an idea in your head of what you think they're going to sound like, and there's not tons going on texturally with the music. I mean, it's the instruments you'd expect, but what he does is just makes everything audible, makes everything clear, makes everything sound powerful. So it's just sounds big and shiny,
just a bit of oomph behind everything,
shiny and dirty at the same time. That's what it is, and you get it back. Praise done so, yeah.
Is it just the 4 of your instruments on the album, or did Mike add anything to it?
Mike hasn't added anything to it. His was like, we had a couple, I know Toby had a few ideas about certain effects in certain places, so he'd send him a rough idea of what that would sound like, and then Mike would do it in his way. The only thing on the EP, and there's a couple other tracks on the album, which when we were in the studio, we had a big Hammond C3 through a Leslie and through a big Marshall stack for some of the big riffy tracks we put. I think it's on 2 or 3 of the songs. And it's on Lay Me to Waste, which is on the EP. But what Fraser did was he kind of went, as much as we thought, "Oh, sick, sounds so good," and I kind of co-played one of the Hammond parts on there as well with the guy that was teching at the studio. We kind of did it between us, and it's such a buzz to have something that loud in the room anyway. But what Fraser did was go, that's, you don't have a Hammond player, you don't have it, it's got to be in there as a texture and not as a feature. So he kind of paired it right back to where you can hear it and it's there and it does the job, whereas we'd have all been like, push that up.
But he knows through experience that
exactly,
you just need that in the background.
That was things like that. He was really how he balanced the vocals and the drums is like made all of his records that he's they're basically they're rock, they're like pop songs, they're pop records. And so to treat the vocal part like a pop vocal, it's out there, it's louder than the guitars, it's all about the drums and the vocals, and the guitars but you can still hear everything, but it's knowing to have that balance that works for the amount of records that he sold. That's what you get with someone like him.
That's what you pay your money for.
So
the album's all finished, is it ready to go?
It's recorded, but it's only the EP's been mixed so far. So we've got 8 other tracks ready to be mixed and mastered when the time comes. And it's just, we want to give the EP some legs. We want to get it out. We want it to
do. Well, in September.
Exactly. And that's it. We want it to do some work for us for a little while before we kind of, because once the album's done, it's out there and that's it. Thieves people.
There's a lot of bands that I've spoke to this weekend that have albums coming out that they're taking the time with it. When the time is right, even though you're itching for people to hear your music,
it has to be right.
When the time is right, that's when you're going to release it.
It's so instant as well, because you put a poster saying album's out now, and then within a day that poster's gone.
Yeah.
So you've done all that build up, and then it's just
isn't it? Yeah.
so it's just having the trickling stuff through. So plus that James saying we've only said the EP's only been out since September, so get that out, get kind of people, because the new songs as well, so new songs to people, so get that for people, get them used to the songs, and then get more festival, more gigs under the belt. And when we do the album, there's something there as well, so it gives it longevity.
Yeah.
So it's not just a flash gone and then the next when's the next album coming out?
Because if you treat it like the money shot straight away, the album, I just was just laughing to myself then, because it's basically, it's got as much longevity as a picture of your fucking dinner on Twitter. It's literally the same thing. It's one post. Here's my dinner. Here's my album. One of them took like 2 years to make.
Yeah, they wrote for 5 minutes.
Yeah, so that's it. With social media, you have to be careful with how you build into something and how you release it, because when that album thing happens, it's there, and you need to be very, you've got to have things lined up, videos and single release schedules, and the playlist in at radio stations and stuff like that has to be part of it. So it's
so as long as you do it on your terms.
Precisely.
Like you say, you've been in other bands before, and you've got many years under your belt, but City of Thieves only made the live debut. It was at Camden Rocks, Rocks Festival this year. How did it go?
Chaotic, man. It was the smallest venue,
What
I
did you
think,
play?
at the Enterprise upstairs.
Right.
It held about 100 people, and the stage, I mean, we barely fit on the stage. It was just loud and sweaty, and I don't think it was we picked the right songs for the set. Like, it was just proper bone cruncher, just go through. We couldn't do some of the more detailed stuff just because we knew it wouldn't work in that environment, so we played for the environment, and we had a half-hour set, so it was just a proper get it out of the way, get the first gig done and just go and break bones, and then deal with. We've had the chance since then to kind of really gel the set together, and where we are now. What we're going to be doing today is a much broader kind of taste of the songs that are out there on and will be on the album.
Yeah, cool. Even though you've only started gigging in May, what's been the highlights so far of 2015?
Bloodstock.
Yeah.
Getting onto Bloodstock at such an early stage for this band as it is, that was a big tick in the box in terms of.
Were you on the Jägermeister?
Yeah.
For me, actually, just thinking about it now, I think the highlight for me was Legends of Rock Originals, which we did about 2 weeks ago in Great Yarmouth. And the reason why that's my personal highlight was that was the first time that we had a long enough set to play every single song that's on the album, and that was the first chance we had to really gauge people's reaction to some of the songs, and actually, as a result of that, really influenced what we chose for our set today, because we only have 45 minutes today. I say only, actually, that's like the ideal set length for us. We did about an hour and 20 at Legends Originals, and it just meant that we could gauge people's reaction and help inform what we could pick to play today, and it allowed us to be a bit bolder. So for me to have had that point where we played everything and we were at our tightest and we were rehearsed and we were comfortable with everything, that was it for me.
So when you had an hour and 20 minutes, was it still all your own songs?
Yes.
Or did you,
We didn't do any covers.
You had enough material to an hour and 20 minutes?
Yeah, a couple of extended sections and stuff like that.
We
But
developed more of a show then, where some of the shorter sets you just kind of go on song, whereas the longer set you kind of working the bridge of songs together, more of a, so you get working, also like trying out what works as well, so groups of songs, which can those work together, so having a longer set enables you to do that, because rehearsals are great, but it's only when you actually go out there and play it, that's when you start to know what works, what doesn't, or what needs changing,
and it gives you that sort of set that it gives you a good time to banter with the audience a bit and stuff, so it's tight, it's balancing out when you've got 45 minutes. Something like this where there's probably a few more people around, I think we want to get as many songs in as we can in that time, and although we've still got time for bantering in between, I think it's more about putting our wares on display. So when you've got longer to kind of relax, it's nice to have a chat with people and get the measure of the audience.
It's also great here for checking out new bands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the stages are so close together, so the main stage could be absolutely rammed, and at the start of your set there might only be, I don't know, 30, 40 people in there.
Yeah.
By 10 minutes into your set, there'll be 200 people in there because you just walk over from one stage to the other.
It's great.
It's kind of set up for that. It's not too far apart. It's all kind of closed in, and because you can kind of swap and change, and you can check out new bands, and there's no. It's not like a huge commitment to kind of you're going to have to walk 3 miles that way to watch the other band.
Yeah, exactly.
You just cross the road.
It's a great festival for
you can check out, and that's how you find new bands as well. It's just by going around the event, just checking them out.
Yeah, we have this weekend. We found some great bands that we'd never even heard of before.
That's the fun of it. That's the beauty of it.
Another one of your highlights, I should imagine, would be getting on the cover CD of Classic Rock.
I forgot that.
Yeah.
I was thinking of live stuff. Yeah, no, that was killer. I mean, to have that out of almost out of nowhere, and to have that kind of reach that you get through that was great, and that has helped us choose what our next single is going to be. So that song on that CD, Buzzed Up City, that's going to be the next video, the next single. So it's been killer. There's all these things that have happened in such a short space of time.
How did they choose which bands they're going to put on
I don't know.
CDs?
I really don't know.
Did they just get in touch with you and say, we want a song of yours on the cover CD, or do you?
We got an email through from our press guy who just said they want a song, which ones you want them to use. And we were
Right, so you choose the song.
Where did that? Yeah, that we had the choice of that. But we're on there with bands like Clutch and stuff like that, which was really good to be included on a lineup like that.
Yeah.
But they basically they said, we want one of the songs, which one do you want? And we had a chat. We'd been tossing around a couple for the next single anyway. And that was how, so it helped us narrow down what we wanted to do. So that was a killer thing as well.
Talking about lineups, I've got a question for you now. It's to establish what kind of influences you have. If you could choose your ideal festival lineup, you're included in it.
Okay.
There's 5 bands. You're in the middle. You choose 2 bands before you, 2 bands after you.
Okay.
Who would it be?
I'll go first.
We could edit that pause.
Do you know what I would have? The 2 bands before would be... Actually, I can't think of the 2 bands before. The 2 bands after would be... No, I can't think of the before. You'd have to have... I'd have Motley Crue as part of their last tour. They could open up. Aerosmith, because I think they're probably one of the biggest influences on what we're doing at the moment in terms of the songwriting. I'd definitely have them, and I would have then us in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And then I'd have the Foo Fighters, because I think they are massively, I think in the kind of almost in the classic rock world, in the metal world, I think they're criminally overlooked because they're so mainstream, but they are out there, they're doing stuff. It's interesting. They don't plough the old furrows. They just do their own thing, and they're still cool. Like, they're cool. And then top of that would be, according to the potentially the latest rumours, I think it would be the old lineup.
The old
that would be you'd have to put them last because he wouldn't turn up in time to go first. So that would be it for me.
This festival could probably go on until about 4 a.m. in the morning. 4 a.m. because they wouldn't turn up until.
And then exactly. And then I think if they were a no-show, I think you need a backup plan for them. So I'd actually love to have someone like Eminem.
Right.
Yeah, that would be my other one. So he was like the new Axl, the new bad boy. I think him, because he'd actually turn up.
Yeah.
So he'd be in the wings if Axl didn't make it. That would be my ideal lineup.
Cool lineup. Adam, is that same for you?
It's a little different. I'd start opening. I'd have something like Dr. Feelgood to open,
right?
Because they're just one of those bands that just get everybody going, bang.
Original lineup with Wilco.
Oh yeah, Wilco. Could have Wilco in it. Yeah. Just straight rock and roll. Do that one after. Headline. I'll have Chicken Foot.
Right.
I'd love to see them kind of do.
Are they still doing anything?
They kind of they're on and off, but it'd be good to see them in
all members together, don't
because the songs they made were brilliant. The albums, the actual song. I mean, you've got the individuals. Yeah, we all know what they've done, but as the 4 of them writing songs, just massively overlooked in my kind of thing. I'd have them headlining. I think Foo Fighters is a good shout because again, to just get everybody going. And then the band just before us, I'd have Who would I have? Good rockin', it was a good straight blue. Judge Fargood. Yeah.
Good choice.
There we go.
Yeah, it does feel good. Judge Fargood. Or Street Fighters, Chicken Folk.
Yeah, two great lineups.
I like that as well, actually. Yeah.
Right, last question then. What does 2016 hold for you? Have you got anything planned, or is it just seeing how it goes?
We've got a couple of things, but we're doing a show in Spain, in Barcelona, in June next year, as part of Roads Rock on Tour in Barcelona, where we're actually sharing a bill with Massive Wagons, who are good mates of ours. And we've got the album will come out at some point in 2016, but we're not sure exactly when. And in terms of stuff that's actually solid, that's it for the time being. But there's you know there's a lot of stuff that we really want to do, but you know that thing, if you open your mouth too soon and you just look like a knob when it doesn't, if it doesn't happen. So there's hopefully we'll be doing what you would expect us to be doing. And we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Good answer. We're doing what you expected. That's a good answer. Cheers, guys.
Nice one, mate.
Pleasure
Thank you for
talking
having us.
to you.
Cheers.
We'll catch you set later on.
Piss now.
Nice way to end it.